How does the attachment style that you inherited from your primary caregiver is affecting your parenting today? And how does it affect your child who most likely gonna inherit it from you? And why is it important to know? Spoiler, just because you can change it at any point. Yes, history is not a destiny, and you can earn secure attachment even if in your childhood you never had it. And this is gonna be the biggest gift you can give to your children and future generations. Hi, I'm Anastasia Goldick, parent coach, parent consultant. I work with parents all over the world, help them understand their kids better, and build a relationship where kids would listen to them, not because they're afraid of punishment or consequences, but just because it feels right to listen to their parents, or at least consider their opinion. And today, let's talk about attachment styles, just because understanding it will help us understand our own challenges, why sometimes it is so hard to connect to our kids, to understand their emotions, to reply and respond calmly. I will try to put it as short and simple as I can, but of course there are like thousands of books written on this topic, documentaries, there is so much information, research, experiments about the attachment. I decided to use this book and information in it for my video just because I find it really well structured, super helpful, super useful, and obviously I can recommend this book to you. Depending on how our parents were showing up for us when we were kids, we developed one of 4 possible attachment styles, and only one of these styles is called secure attachment. 3 others are called insecure avoidant attachment, insecure ambivalent attachment, and insecure disorganized attachment. So let's talk about these 4 attachment styles so you can listen to it and see if you can relate to one of those. And after that, we're gonna talk about how you can use this information to improve the way you feel as a parent, the way you show up for your child, the way you show up for yourself. And let's start with insecure avoidant attachment style. Let's say I'm a child who has this insecure avoidant attachment. How does my childhood feels like? How do I see my parents? So most of the times my parent will be ignoring me or my needs for connection. Every time I'm trying to connect with my parent, he or she will be annoyed by it. He will be like, okay, why are you so clingy? So get out of here. Or if my emotions are too big or my behavior is not appropriate, also this parent will most likely to be willing to disconnect, avoid connection, right? So they will try to leave the room or make me leave the room, like go out of here, do not talk to me, do not even like come up to me unless you change, unless you apologize, stuff like that. So it's a lot of disconnection, a lot of avoidance of relationship. It's something that basically we live together, so this parent can be physically present but very much not available emotionally. So what I learned as a child, same thing, that vulnerability is bad, is dangerous, that I have never expressed my feelings, I have never talked about my needs. If I even do that, they will be ignored. Nobody will want to meet them anyway, so why would I even think about it? So I learned to ignore my own feelings. I learned to be disconnected from my own body. People like that, they sometimes feel numb, and not only to pain, because this is understandable why we learn to defend ourselves from painful emotions, but the thing is that the center in our brain that is responsible for our emotions, it's not that you can select, you cannot pick and choose that these emotions I will turn off and these are good, I want to feel them. Unfortunately, when we learn to avoid our feelings, we are not able to feel anything, not only pain, but also it's hard to feel tender, vulnerable emotions. So this is exactly why when we even want to connect to our kids, to people we love, we try to get closer, but something in us makes us avoid this deep connection. And of course, when we become parents ourselves and we have this little child who now is seeking for attention, for connection, for for us to meet their needs, we are overwhelmed. We're like, what's going on here? I'm not used to it. I'm not used to be so close to someone else. And we start ignoring our kids or sending them messages like, you are too much for me. I cannot bear you. I cannot bear this clinginess. Why are you so clingy? And we tend to push our kids into independence much earlier than they're able to do that. And it's super hard to give space to kids' vulnerable emotions. When our kids cry, we tend to either ignore it or become super positive about it. Like, there is nothing to cry about. You're good, honey. You're fine. There is nothing wrong. Like, nothing happened. Let's move on. Any conversation about deep, vulnerable feelings is hard for us. Even when we want to support our kids, we're not able to do that. As a result, what happens to our kids? Since they don't have much experience of talking about their emotions, of being able to express freely these emotions, to be vulnerable and feel secure and safe while being vulnerable with us, they learn very quickly to first avoid connection with us. So there was time when they really were seeking, to connect with us. At some point they learn, like, no, like, I don't want to do that. I don't need you anymore. You wanted me to be independent. Here I am, independent from you. They might be the kids who struggle with empathy to other people, just because empathy can be built only on my own understanding, on my own emotions. It is hard for them to express what they think, what they feel, what they need. They would tend to avoid conflict rather than have a conversation about what happened. Or sometimes a child may look like she's not here. She's physically present, but her mind, her thoughts are somewhere else, and you're like, hey, where are you? I'm here. And they struggle to concentrate and focus on the present moment. They are always somewhere else. And of course, in future, this may affect how our kids gonna be showing up for themselves and other people in their life. If you notice these tendencies in your child or in yourself, please don't worry. It's okay. It's fine. There are so many people in the world who have this style of attachment. Doesn't mean that they're not able to be happy. It doesn't mean that they cannot change it. You can change it. But before we even go to how we can change it, I really want to focus on the strength that we inevitably get with this style of attachment. Remember, this style of attachment was created, right? Was developed in response to the circumstances that we had in our childhood. And this was the best strategy to survive. If you're watching this video and if I'm recording this video, that means that we both survived. And that means that the strategy was not that bad, that it worked. That was something good about it that helped us to survive. And before we change anything, I really want to focus on these good sides, positive sides of insecure avoidant attachment style that we might want to keep and don't even want to change. A parent who has an avoidant attachment style is very good, is very strong at giving your child space, giving your child freedom, respecting his or her boundaries, not being, too controlling, too much there, knowing to want everything that's going on in their lives, teaching them to be independent also in a good way. And you know what else? Since we learned how to avoid hard feelings, basically get numb, this can help us to be more confident, more calm. Let's say our child is anxious or mad, at least we will not add fuel to that. So as we learn how to actually connect with our kids, how to give space to their emotions, we can still remain calm and positive. But now, not because we will be numb or avoidant, just because we still remember how to do that. We did it so many times. After we look at all three insecure attachment styles, we're going to talk about how we can move closer to secure attachment. And now let's move on to insecure ambivalent attachment. So basically what happens to me when I am a child? My parent First of all, does not look very confident. A lot of self-doubt, a lot of like, I don't know what to do. And I just don't feel that I can rely on my parent. My parent is very anxious, and that, of course, same thing I feel about the world, about myself. When I have strong, huge feelings, my parent, instead of being calm and responsive, would be like explosive. What did I do wrong? What happens to you? Oh my God, you will never learn to do that. You will never succeed. So a lot of, catastrophizing, a lot of things like, oh my God, I'm the worst parent in the world, crying, then maybe my heart hurts, my blood pressure rises when you do that. So a lot of strong emotions that my parent cannot handle themselves, and now I feel responsible for that. So I'm a little child who needs somebody to rely on. Instead of that, I feel responsible for my mom's being crying, being angry, whatever happens to her. So I have nobody to lean onto. That makes me feel anxious as well. Another thing about emotions, when a parent cannot handle their own emotions, they feel dangerous to her, to him. And when a child has the same emotions, they feel like they have to save us from it. So my mom would constantly try to distract me from my feelings or save me from them. All these like coping strategies. Okay, let's go eat a candy. Let's go watch a cartoon. Let's smile. Let's joke. Let's do something so you don't feel that, because I don't know how to handle that. Also, this kind of parent would be the parent who wants to know everything about you because they worry so much, they're so preoccupied. They will try to help you even when you don't need this help. They will try to help you to avoid any struggles in your life. So basically, the message they send to you is, you're not capable of doing that, let me help you. Or you're not capable to overcome that, so better don't do that, don't go there. You're gonna get into a trouble and you will not survive. So just, sit at home, don't go anywhere, avoid any danger. So when I grow up, I don't feel very competent. I don't feel very strong or capable. I doubt myself a lot. I have a lot of shame, a lot of fear, a lot of anxiety. I might have so many desires and wants and needs and ideas and want to participate in so many projects, but I will never start them. Or even if I start, I will quickly leave them just because I don't feel that I'm capable to do that. Also, I will tend to be stuck in the worst case scenarios. And there are going to be a lot of unnecessary worrying. Nothing has happened yet. It might never happen. And of course, as a parent, I will be worrying constantly about my child. Do basically the same thing as my parents did. It will be very hard to me to give my child their own space, to help them be independent. It will be very hard to see them struggling with something. I will also want to save them from any type of struggle, any type of emotions that are not feeling comfortable. That's why when my child is not calm or happy, I cannot be calm and happy. Since our kids have not learned to regulate their emotions, we are the ones that they rely on to help them to co-regulate. And if my child is anxious and I'm anxious at the same time, how does it help him? It doesn't. When a child wants to explore this world, this type of parent will be the one who will limit it a lot. Don't go there, or you will fall. Don't touch this, or you can get burned. Stuff like that. And of course, in future, my child will be struggling with anxiety, not being able to find a lot of friends, not being able to express themselves freely in this world, because it simply doesn't feel safe. And it's much more safer just to stay at home and do nothing. Also, they will be scared of their own emotions. Doesn't mean that they will not feel them. They just will be having troubles of regulating them. And they can develop a lot of also coping strategies like eating, a lot when they're anxious, or, other addictions, just because they don't know how to handle these strong emotions. If you feel like you can relate to this, Again, don't worry, it's fine. There are so many people like you in this world, same thing. And a lot of them still were able to become happy, build happy family, relationship, and fulfill their potential to the fullest. You can change it. But before we change it, again, let's talk about strength. Let's talk about some good, nice, positive things about this type of attachment. Even though it's insecure, ambivalent, whatever is called attachment, you survived. It was the best strategy for you at some point. And this is why we can 100% believe that there was something good in this strategy. So let's talk about this good so you don't throw it away with a baby, okay? And first thing I'm gonna say is that this type of parents, they are the most, they work so hard on knowing everything about kids, their development, knowing everything about psychology, just because they want to be the best parents for their kids. And they are willing to do the work. They're constantly working on their own personal development, personal growth, and healing. They are willing to take actions, to take responsibility on how they affect their kids. So these parents eventually will find their own way to stop maybe trying to save their kids from their own experience, and rather start to working on their own emotions, own emotional intelligence, resilience, all of that. So these parents are so deeply loving and caring that they do everything for their kids. And because of this devotion, this willingness to find their own way to healing, they will finally earn this secure attachment. And 100% it will change their kids' life, the way their kids feel in their body and in this world. Now let's move to the last insecure attachment style, which is insecure disorganized attachment. Why is it called disorganized? So when I am a child, and you probably know that, I have this a basic need to connect with my parent, to find in my parents support, love, warmth. This is the person who gonna meet my needs, who will be safe, who will make me feel safe in this world. So this is one part of me. This is one program that is always in us when we are born. But what sometimes happens, actually very often, that a parent, instead of helping a child feeling safe and secure in this world, this parent actually becomes a source of threat, of fear, of aggression to the child. So one part of me as a child wants to connect with this person, and the other part of me is threatened by this person. One part of me is seeking safety from this person, and the other part of me is trying to run away from this person, just because he's the main source of fear, right? That's why it's called disorganized. And this is considered to be one of the hardest thing to live with, just because every time we're stressed, we just don't know what to do. We have no one to go to. When I'm a child, as I said, my parent would be yelling, screaming a lot, being aggressive, calling names, using physical punishment, hurting me physically, emotionally, all that stuff. So as I grew up with this attachment style, I myself can be very explosive, having troubles with aggression, not being able to cope with stress, being all the time like an emotional roller coaster, extremely high, extremely low, not being able to predict and even understand how I feel and how I'm gonna react. And when I have my own kids, again, I'm so dysregulated, and it's so hard for me to accept their emotions, accept their misbehavior, just because all the time I take it so personally, and it makes me feel so mad. I feel like, oh, they don't respect me, they won't obey, so now I'm gonna punish them. It makes me feel so angry just in a moment, just in a second. Even if I promise myself never to do that again, never to scream or yell or being violent. Just something inside of myself is so dysregulated that I hardly can control it. And the saddest thing is that if I'm like that, it doesn't mean I don't love my child. And this relationship hurt my child and myself, both of us. And as a result, what happens to my child? Of course, there is a lot of resentment, a lot of anger, I would say hatred towards me. And because of that, my child won't listen to me, doesn't want to obey, doesn't want to be cooperative, doesn't even trust me. And that hurts me even more. That makes me even more explosive. And this is just the this what is called like negative cycle that gets worse and worse and worse. And this is so painful. This is such a sad story, because the same parent who hurts their child is the parent who really loves this child and who's trying their best. They might work hard, sacrifice a lot just to give their child as much as they can. And this child is not able to appreciate it, just because there is so much resentment, so much tears, so much pain in this relationship. There is that there is no room for love and appreciation, unfortunately. But you can change it. If you feel like you can relate to it, it's still not the end of the world. You can change it. But before we go there, same thing. Let's talk about strength. What this strategy gave to you so you survived. And the first thing I'm gonna say is that behind that strong rage, madness, aggression, right, even violence, there is also a lot of love, a lot of need for connection that you are just not able, do not know how to get, do not know how to achieve this connection. And this aggression is a sign of pain. Like, I love you, I want to be close to you, but I just don't know how to do it. So, here you go, here's my rage. And when you will be able to work with this aggression and rage, when you will be able to get deeper to the root of it, and the root is pain and need for love, you will see how much genuine desire for connection is there. And also you will find a lot of compassion there towards yourself, towards your child, and all the other people in this world who were hurt, because you know what it feels like to be hurt by the people who you love the most. And when you heal, when you actually do that, never forget this pain. And then you will be able to help other people with the same problem with aggression. You will know that they're like this not because they're bad, right? It's just because they feel bad, and you will know how to help them. By the way, you might notice that this type of people who can be really mean and rude to other people, even the closest ones, at the same time can be very caring, very kind, loving and compassionate to animals. You know why? It's just because it's much safer with animals, with dogs, with cats, horses. They feel so much safer than people. I feel like they will not hurt me. That's why I can open my heart towards them. And I can feel all these vulnerable, soft, warm emotions toward them. You can feel the same thing towards your kids and other people in your life while you work on your pain and heal it. And now, as I promised, let's talk about what we can do about it. And the best news about it, I think, is that we don't need our parents for that. We don't need them to change. We don't need even them to apologize for what they did. We don't need them to go to the therapy with us or without us. So it's not about our parents anymore. It's 100% depends on us. And first of all, if you see that you are, like, let's say, you have insecure ambivalent or insecure avoidant or insecure disorganized attachment style, please learn more about it. Connect with it more. It will help you understand the unmet needs that you had when you were a child. And now you can think about how you can help yourself to meet them on your own. Let's say your parent never cared about your emotions, never spoke to you about your emotions. Okay, let's start doing that for ourselves now. Just during a day, ask yourself, what I feel. How does it feel in my body? Let's say I feel nervous. Okay, that's fine. Say, I'm nervous. And then ask myself, where is it in my body? Okay, or probably it's in my chest, or maybe in my throat, or maybe in my stomach. Okay, and then maybe you want to hug yourself and tell yourself, oh, you're so nervous. I can see that. Of course, you have a reason to be nervous. You don't know what's going to happen next, and you worry about it because it's so important to you. But listen, everything will be okay. Or even if not, you will overcome it. You will be able to deal with that. You will be okay. And stuff like that. So it's positive self-talk. It's being curious. It's being attentive to yourself. It's taking care of yourself. So if you don't get enough sleep, what can you do? Let's say your child doesn't get enough sleep, and because of that is not feeling good, it's hard to perform well at school. What would you do? You will probably change their schedule. You will change their regime, right? So they can sleep more. And now do the same to yourself. I know a lot of people do not get enough sleep, and it's not for actually good reason. It's just because they have bad habits of being on their phone until 2 a.m., stuff like that, not eating healthy. I'm not saying that now you have to change all of your habits, but little steps, self-care, self-awareness, self-love. This is secure attachment. Basically, you can also read about secure attachment, how it looks like, and then ask yourself, am I in the same relationship with myself? A lot of self-forgiveness will be needed on this path, because obviously you will make mistakes. You will do some things all over and over again. Doesn't matter. Every mistake is another opportunity to express self-compassion. Every mistake is a great chance to show up for yourself, to be there for yourself, to be kind to yourself, to forgive yourself. And this is gonna be another brick in this house of secure attachment. So don't try to avoid mistakes, make mistakes, and then change the way you react to them. Change the way you talk to yourself about those mistakes. This is something that will change your life dramatically. And once you learn to do that, you will see how much easier it becomes for you to act the same way towards your kids, your spouse, other people in your life. It all starts from you. I know sometimes it's really hard to accept this idea that now I have to do it to myself, because for many reasons we're still kind of don't want to refuse from this need to get it from other people, especially from our parents, but not always from our parents. Sometimes we're like, okay, my parents cannot give it to me, but I will find a partner and I will be trying to get it from him or from her. Bad news, it won't help. Even if you find the best partner in your life who will be super caring, super loving, still in the end of the day you will have to learn how to do it to yourself. So why would you wait? You can do it. Another thing you can do about emotions and feelings, doesn't matter if it's avoidant attachment or any other of them, all of these types of people have troubles with their sensitive, vulnerable emotions. So help yourself start feeling them, not being afraid of them, not avoiding or feeling like it's the end of the world. Just, you can even start with watching movies where you can cry. You can even Google it, movies to cry. movies that make you vulnerable, movies that touch your heart, stuff like that. Movies or books, doesn't matter. Why I'm talking about the movies? Because it's something that your brain knows is not real, is not actually going on in your life. So there are going to be less defensiveness. And the more you allow yourself to cry, to feel sadness, to feel sorrow, the more your brain will feel like, it's actually safe. I don't have to avoid it. I don't have to run away from it. I don't have to save myself from it. I experienced this emotion and I survived. And also, what else you can do? Things that touch our heart, things that help us cry. It's something that actually can help us find the same experience, not maybe the same, exactly the same, but this type of experience in our life, in our childhood, what I didn't have a chance to cry about, what I didn't have a chance to say goodbye to, what I didn't have a chance to feel sad about, right? Stuff like that, or maybe mad about. There are also a lot of suppressed anger in us. So things like that, let yourself experience it through stuff that feels safe, like I said, movies, right, or books. And then slowly, if you find yourself, maybe you drive your car, you're listening to a sad music, sad song, and you find yourself wanting to cry, let yourself do it. This is the best thing you can do. This is the best therapy. Tears are healing. In order to heal, we need to start feeling, right? Feel to heal. Of course, if you are open to go and get some therapy, obviously it will be super helpful. Even before getting a specialist help, you can do a lot for yourself. I do believe we can do a lot. The only thing is that I think it's only to some point. So let's say I can do a 70% of work on my own, but still at some point I will get to this level where I will need someone else to give me a hand. And don't be afraid to ask for this hand. I hope this video was useful. I do realize that now you may have even more questions than before, but it's good. When we have a question, our mind will find an answer. I know we cannot change our attachment style in one day, just watching one video or reading one book. It takes sometimes years and years. But even being on this path, just walking down this road is already a huge achievement. It means to be a cycle breaker, and it takes a lot of courage, and it means that there is a lot of love there. And since you watched this video till the end, I know for sure that you are a cycle breaker. And I'm so grateful and so happy that you made this decision to change your multi-generational patterns so your kids and future generations can live a happier lives. Thank you.